First time meeting Lynn Shaw. She's on the screen right now, and you folks are going to be blessed and actually enlightened. This subject today is one of the most powerful subjects, and I don't know if it's ever on secular television. I watch much news, and I don't know if it's covered. Lynn Shaw, good to have you. What an honor, because you are the wife of my close friend Lionel, and we have been buddies for 30 years. And I'm not going to go into how we first met, but it's on another telecast that I did with Lionel. But it's an honor to have you. What are you involved in, and how did you have this passion to do what you do?
Thank you, Herman. I am so honored and completely thankful that you're having me on today and agreeing to cover this most critical and crucial issue: human trafficking and the sexual exploitation of our children. And I'm focusing in the United States because, of course, it's a worldwide problem, but we have to focus on what is going on in our own homes and communities first in order to intervene and not have new victims, which are our children,
Yeah.
fall into this human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Let me just explain. It is so overwhelming and dark that people do not want to talk about it. And I don't blame them. I don't blame parents to, shy away, but I guarantee you, 1 in 5 children, this is all backed up by studies, everything I tell you, 1 in 5 children that we know about, this is pre-pandemic. So you can imagine in the last year plus, when children have been at home and being schooled at home on, devices, on the internet, how it has escalated. So reports are starting to leak out, but I'm going to give you what we know. And prior to the pandemic, 1 in 5 children have been approached online with a sexual image or sexual dialogue. So I believe this is an American crisis. I'm going to start right in our own backyards. I want to help the entire world and solve this. We need to start right here, though. There is a new definition to human trafficking. It's kind of a human trafficking. You think of trucks, you think of cars, you think of other countries, other places. I want to break that down a little bit. Human trafficking, think of it as a vehicle, something that moves. What moves online? An image moves online, a dialogue moves online. And this, during this COVID period, has escalated. We have given over our children, our young adults.
Wow.
And there are adults too all involved in this, but we want to focus on our children, on our future, on our precious babies. We have given the predators our children. We have made it so easy. So while everybody was locked up and held down, they just moved online and started taking over while everybody was vulnerable, while everybody was upset and overwhelmed, and nobody was keeping an eye on things. And what's reported is worldwide, it's about so many different facts because we don't really know. Remember, these crimes are underreported and very dark. So it's reported $150 billion industry.
Oh my goodness.
So I differ. I talk to a lot of law enforcement and border, agents, and I would say that it's much, much more. We can all agree on that. Okay. So the next question is, why is this happening? And people say, why? I get two things all the time, Herman. I get, that doesn't happen here. Well, I'm sitting in the middle of New York City. It is happening in every town, city, and rural area in the United States.
I read where Florida is number one.
Number one, and that even staggers. We've got Florida, Ohio, West Virginia. They go 1, 2, 3, then they go 3. They keep switching. We understand this is an overwhelming everything. And I am here to say, nobody is doing anything. I work on policy and legislation for the city of New York, for the state of New York, and on a federal level with our government. And although we're very hopeful, because we're always hopeful, it's taking too long. There's too much red tape. There's too much weaponization going on in our society. There's so much noise. Nobody's looking at any of this. And in the meantime, and I have especially seen this in the last 6 months, our children are becoming the product. So the answer is yes, it's happening all over. And why is it happening? because you follow the money. It's the biggest money maker. It's the number one business now of MS-13, of gang members.
My
They are
goodness.
trafficking and smuggling people. So it's money. And the government, big tech, I say big tech is our government. They are doing
Oh, yeah.
nothing about any of this.
Absolutely.
And just to give you the background so people understand, the internet was born in 1996, 25 years ago. And there was something formed at the time called the Communications Decency Act of 1996. And that simply says that these platforms, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of them are basically platforms like a billboard, that they're not held responsible for content that anybody puts on any of these platforms. So we as warriors today in 2021 are fighting this. We are holding them responsible because a lot has changed with the internet in the last 25 years. I don't think anybody intentionally formed the internet so we could have this child predation. It's just, technology always lags behind the law, and the predators are very savvy, and they figured out, how can we make a buck? Oh, everybody's online. We live in a 24/7 digital world. Let's go online. We're going to start grooming the children. We're going to become their friends. The children think they're talking to another child or another teen, when in essence, it's a 40-year-old man. And after they gain that trust of the child, then they move in. And they move in with, oh, yeah, my mom yells at me too. Oh, yeah, my dad took away my phone too. Oh, okay, let's become buddies. Okay, do you want to send me a picture of yourself? I want to see what you look like. And it starts there. And, this is a separate show, but we live in a society today that just talks about everything. They put everything out there. Nothing is sacred. It's
Does
just
big
all.
does big tech have any censoring when they pick up on what is going on? Do they take them off, or they let it go? What happens?
They don't let it go. They're not really very willing partners with all of this. Let me give you some examples. In the year 2020, Facebook alone took down over 35 million sexual images. We call it CSAM, CSAM. It's called Child Sexual Abuse Material. They alone recognize through their algorithms and whoever this mysterious team of people who decide what's sexual, what's not, 35 million. That's on their own. But we currently have lawsuits, a couple of lawsuits only in the last year against Facebook, against Twitter, with minors, where their images appeared and Facebook refused or Twitter refused to take down these images. And so now that's in the courts. But as of about a little over 2 weeks ago, there's a Twitter lawsuit. The boy was 13 and his image, he's now 16. Their rebuttal in court was, this is all going through the legal process right now, is, well, Communication Decency Act, of 1996, we can't be held responsible. So they do take down images. They do report to the National Center on Missing and Exploited Children in Washington, D.C., which is the clearinghouse. That's the home of the Amber Alert. You might get on your phone sometimes. But I work with the National Center. They tell me it's too big. It's too overwhelming. It's too horrific. We can't keep up with all of this. So what does that tell us, Herman, about society? We need to work on education, raising awareness, intervening, and ending demand. And that's a big one, ending demand. Why is there such a demand, this normalization now of the sexualization of our children? And I can cite 100 reports for you about the studies that go behind this. People become numb when something becomes normalized. There are a lot of great groups and nonprofits, organizations working on trafficking, on exploitation. But I feel because of the media not really covering it or sexualizing, we have networks like Netflix streaming. They put out a lot of sexual content. Nobody really cares.
Yeah.
Media not covering it. Look at our newspapers or online, the periodicals, they sexualize children. We go into a lot of now trans. We're allowing children to change their sex at 7 years old. So it's being shoved in our faces, educational, all across the country, has an agenda. Okay. So if it's being so normalized, people become numb to it and they back off and they do nothing.
You're the expert. Would you know, if you were in a shopping mall or an airport, could you visually spot someone that may be taken
Yes,
someplace, they have someone with them, and you
yes,
are aware that there's something wrong with this relationship?
yes. I could spot that in a second, but that is my job as Lynn's Warriors to train the public how to spot this, and not only how to spot it, what to do when you spot it. Because I've had so many people come to me, Herman, and say, I saw something 20 years ago. It still bothers me today. I didn't do anything. I didn't know what to do. 10 years ago, I saw something at the mall. It still bothers me. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm here to share these simple tips of what everybody, you have to be prepared. You can't be caught off guard. You have to, every parent, grandparent, trusted adult, we have to work together as a community and make this commitment that we will, one, communicate with our children as tough. People don't like to talk about sex. It's uncomfortable. It's embarrassing. We have to, because the predators are getting to the children before us. So we have to be armed with information. We have to be armed with how to react and what do we do?
Would
And
you
that's what I,
would you confront a person that you have assessed this is going on with this adult, with this teenager?
no, I would immediately go up to somebody working at the airport behind the desk, and I would say who I am, and I would say there's something I believe is wrong with this relationship, and they will immediately get their security for the airport. The security from there takes it, and immediately they will connect to local law enforcement and also into the National Center on Missing and Exploited Children, who further investigates it. It's very obvious when you look around. Things such as a girl that looking down, not really talking, just not really, maybe she has no purse or she has no backpack. You can kind of tell they're kind of like, downtrodden, beaten down. Or sometimes you see these very young girls, it could be 12, 14, even 16, very sexualized with a man, just sitting there, kind
Yeah.
of like not talking. It's a vibe, you kind of pick up. And again, I want to stress that any calls to 911, any calls to the National Center, any calls at all are all confidential. There's a human trafficking hotline provided by the government. And what they do immediately is connect you in your area to your local resources. But when you're in an airport or you're in a mall or a supermarket, or a drugstore, the immediate thing to do is to the person behind the counter, and then also 911 in your area immediately. If you're in a mall or something, it's better to be safe than sorry. They're not going to hold you responsible. I've had people say, I don't want to get involved. They're going to hold me responsible. Nobody's holding you responsible. You're out of the mix once you report it.
How do you assemble all of the help that you need, obviously? And not only that, I would think that you must have security around you, because when you're messing with $1 billion business, like if it were cocaine, they put hits on people if you mess with them.
Mhm.
Are you
Scared,
do
worried.
you have security around you? Do you walk with freedom? I mean, are you now a target?
Listen, I answer to myself, my family, and my God. I walk freely. I don't have security around me. That being said, I'm kind of a one woman band. I do my own thing. I put out my own product. I am partnered. Lynswarriors.org is the website with,
It's a 501c3, right?
yes, that I recently formed. And no, I, knock on wood, I believe I was put here for this mission. I
Wow.
truly do. I believe something happened. And let me just give the background, because people always say to me, how'd you get involved in this? My entire almost 40-year career has been spent in the entertainment business. I started out in the music business, writing music for jingles. Remember, we did live music for TV commercials back in the day.
Yes.
And I worked with Clairol and things like Popeye's Fried Chicken and Volkswagen, MTV, all that original music. And through the years, worked with Broadway and Hollywood. But I had an author. This is what happened to me. And she wrote a book. She hired me because I do strategies for people. I get them ready to do media hits. I advise them. And she wrote a book about domestic violence a couple of years back. And she was well known in New York. And I was urging her when this is published to use your real name so we can really gain awareness. We'll get on a lot of TV and radio shows because it's you. And at the last minute, she said, I cannot, I'm still scared. Even though her sons, long divorced, sons are 38 and 40, she said, I'm still in fear from that domestic violence, and almost killed her. So what I did, this is how I got involved in all of this. I'm like, well, how do I get on television? How do I promote a book? How is anybody going to write about this? I created this fictitious author. And the publisher, they all went along with it. You know, all of my work is based on my relationships I have in entertainment. And I put out the book under this fake person. And I did all the blogging, I did all the research, and I went on every TV show because I just Googled, I'm like, best domestic violence agency in the United States. And I came up with the National Network to End Domestic Violence in Washington. And Herman, I am not exaggerating because I keep wonderful notes on everything. It took 101 phone calls until somebody spoke to me at that agency, because my idea was they have advocates all over the country. So let me give them free publicity if they're willing to do this. Bring the advocate onto these TV shows to talk about domestic violence. Bring them on the radio. Let's write something. And then at the end, we'll hold up the book and say, there's a wonderful read, and we'll do it. And they went along with it. But did you hear me? I said 101 phone calls. All of my emails went unanswered. 101. And I'm giving them free PR on television, in media, in print. And I couldn't believe, and that's the attitude. If that's the attitude coming out of Washington, what are we doing? That is why I formed Lynn's Warriors. I literally woke up one day. I was doing things, you know, like behind the scenes and supporting people. And then I'm like, you know what? My best friend died last summer, and she was always urging me, a screenwriter out in Hollywood. We just started. We were going to do a movie, and we just started brainstorming and ideas. And she's like, I've got it all in my head, and we're going to do this. And we couldn't get to it the last 2 years because she kept getting hired to do all these wonderful projects, you know, make a lot of money. We were finally getting to it. And a month later, she was dead. And I woke up, Herman, and I said,
suspicious or?
No, she had been complaining all during COVID that she had stomach aches. And I kept saying, go to the hospital, go. She's like, they're turning me down. They're turning me away. It's not an emergency. She literally, on a Sunday morning, she said, I was told I have 3 weeks to live. I said, stop it. You're kidding me.
Goodness.
I had a very advanced cancer. And Herman, that woke me up. Every day is precious. Every moment is precious.
Yes.
Every child is precious.
Yes.
I now have to step out. I have to become a warrior. I have to train and educate and raise awareness on a very, just a grassroots kind of level. I've got to be that cheerleader.
Lynn, do you have any of this in public school system or the school system at all?
You mean training for human trafficking?
Are they aware? Do they watch out for what could be happening?
They all know about it, Herman. Your state of Florida, Attorney General Ashley Moody actually does a lot of great work on behalf of human trafficking.
We have the greatest governor, DeSantis.
Yes, and you absolutely do. And you know, I wish. Well, I'll leave that separate. But we need him. You know, we all need him.
We need a governor like him in every state.
Well, you know, we need him to be president, but that's a whole nother show. You know, that's a whole
good commercial.
But you know, the state of Florida, they really stepped up. You know, they were the first ones, sporting events where we're going to start raising awareness because a lot of traffic comes in from out of town. Yeah. And, you know, we're going to be on the lookout. One of my partnerships is with the United States Institute Against Human Trafficking, based in Tampa. They have an office in Tampa. Wow. So I work with them. So I'm very aware of what's going on in Florida. You know, they also we're going to start putting a sign on every bus stop. Now, you know, we need every airport in America. These are simple things. We need every airport to have signs. We need all the bathrooms to have signs, every bus stop to have signs.
Right.
What are we doing, Herman?
But all of what you just said costs money.
Well, let me tell you, if we can spend, let's see, not to get too political, I do want to say human trafficking and sexual exploitation are bipartisan issues. They belong to no political party. They are human rights abuse issues.
Right.
Okay.
That's the way it should be.
If we have so far to date I saw close to $200 billion just since, I believe, January. Now, don't quote me on this, yesterday, being spent on illegal immigration. So that's coming out of the taxpayers' dollars or some mysterious Federal Reserve. I'm not sure where all that money's coming from. Herman, if we have that kind of money, we want people to come here. We want people to be part of our country. We want them to do it legally and appropriately. If
Does
we have,
trafficking come through the illegal?
well, that's what I'm leading up to. If we have that kind of money, we need to have education starting, and I'm saying starting kindergarten. Okay.
Wow.
If we have sex education forced upon our children in these schools, we also now need, it goes hand in hand, we need to have, human trafficking education. And you know what the border is? Are you hearing about the border, Herman? Because I'm not hearing about it. I'm hearing about it from my sources. The way these
We have
kids,
the journalism is gone. It's over.
well, you can't. You have to go online. You have to talk to Lionels. You have to talk to your neighbors. You have to research. We have to get people, and they're starting to get away from this mainstream media. They will not talk about these issues. They do not. I know a lot of people in media, and I'll say, let me come on your show. Let me talk about it. They're like, Lynn, go away. I'd love to have you. I love you. The boss isn't going for this because the government is complicit with media and it's trickling down. Remember, this is all based on money, and kids are the product. Kids are the future. They're going to be, buying, how about Kellogg's cereal this week, making all their little characters gay. How about, let me share with you, Herman, let me get back to the border. The border is a total money making. We have two different things. We have smuggling, just, where the cartels are running the border, because that's what I'm told.
Correct.
So they're just coming over in droves, smuggling people, making tons of money. What happens to those people, the smuggled people, when they get to the other side? Well, I can tell you, a lot of these girls and women and boys too, we can't forget about the boys, are being trafficked. They get here, they don't speak English, they don't know, they're being shoved off on a bus somewhere. The predators are there waiting. This is it. And they're taking them to rape houses. I know this for a fact. People in America should be out in the streets screaming. And these little girls are being taken. We have things I don't even touch upon, such as organ harvesting. That's a big business where they kill people for their organs. I can't even go there because I'm trying to just get people used to, this is happening in your home. Your child at the kitchen table on their laptop, maybe doing a school assignment, and because you have no safety filter on that child's computer, somebody can just download porn, and all of a sudden the child is seeing porn. And so it's all about
Are they exploited for porn also?
Well, here's
trafficked.
Here's the thing. The images that I talked about that children and teens and young adults are exchanging, okay, you can never really delete an image. An image gets retweeted, it gets shared, downloaded, it goes somewhere to that mysterious cloud we all talk about. So even if you delete it, and what they do, Herman, is they upload that to a porn site, such as Pornhub, which we're having tremendous legal battles right now to get images of children. I'm not talking adults, consenting adults. We are talking newborns on these porn sites. We are talking up to age 18, considered legal adult. And we are battling because they're taking that image, they're uploading it to Pornhub, and every time somebody clicks at it, looks at it, they might make $5. It's, again, a money-making tool. I want to stress, though, the most frightening thing, I'm not talking at all about consenting adults here or any of that. The normalization is that adults now want children. And I'm fighting every day right now in New York. It's just about, we need our governor to sign it. We have child brides. Who thought we have child brides in the United States? Kind of thing. Forced marriage, child brides. Unbelievable. We're up to, if New York signs it, which could be today, our governor, the 6th state in the country that is against I didn't even know about these child brides. Who could imagine this? So we're being attacked. Our children are being attacked on every single level. And while everybody's over here, reacting to somebody's tweet or reacting to something that really doesn't matter, it's just escalating.
How can our audience, because we have about 4 minutes left.
Oh, that went so fast.
How
Herman,
can they be a part or become one of your warriors?
Thank you. The best way is to go to my website, lynswarriors.org. I have lots of latest news, safety tips, things you need to know about, but I want to recommend a couple of things for the audience. The number one thing, safety filters on your children's devices. And there's a wonderful website, protectyoungeyes.com, protectyoungeyes.com. Free webinars, free safety filters, how to have discussions with your kids, books you can read. We need to come together and meet the kids on their level to know what they're doing and what they're talking about so we can communicate. So that's protectyoungeyes.com. And the other one, based out of Florida, my good friend Jan Edwards, it's called Paving the Way, pavingtheway.org. Jan has all the stats, all the visuals. You can just, people like to look at pictures, what the teens are looking at, what's happening in this state, what's happening in that state, report cards on things. If you do one thing, you go to protectyoungeyes.com, actually two things, pavingtheway.org, and you start learning what you can do in your own home. And it's safety filters and communication with your children. And of course, you go to lynswarriors.org and just learn everything.
So do you send material to them?
I actually utilize all of their material because they do very in-depth studies that are very well crafted and very well done, partnered, sometimes with the government on a state level or on the federal level. So they're very well vetted because I like to put only information out. We want facts, not myths. We want people to be armed, and they're not hearing the truth about all of this. People need to know the truth, and then I'm convinced they'll all want to become warriors.
So you have a budget on what you do? That 501c3, can they give to your organization?
Absolutely, they can. And let me tell you, my organization, I want to stress, it all goes into, I'm doing education, getting out into the community one-on-one. That's what it takes, spending all my time doing that. And also we have to keep in mind before we leave the survivor voice. We need to listen to what they say and their lived experience, which I don't have, so they can share. And about 97% of these survivors, there's no money for them. There's no budget in the United States. There are no resources. So you can imagine during COVID, when everything was locked down, the only monies they made sometimes were private donations or giving a speech, in a church, in a school, and everything. So people need to educate, share with their family and their trusted.
Have the information on the screen.
Thank you.
While you're talking.
Thank you.
That people can write it down and get used to having information that they've never had before.
They have to learn the truth. They have to have the information. Go to lynswarriors.org. Everything is laid out there for you.
Thank you, Lynn. God bless you.
Thank you.
God protect you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Herman. Thank you.